at my sister Gracie. She's in Charlotte, and she was like, I want to start a parenting blog. I think we should do it. We stayed up, I'm not kidding, till like maybe 2 a.m. I'm so sick. Every time I scroll social media's changed so much recently. I would scroll social media and I'd see these moms who just look perfect, and I'd be sitting there covered in spit up, like laundry everywhere, just feeling like, am I feeling like their marriages look perfect? I kind of want to punch my husband in the face sometimes. Kidding, not really. Like, what is going on? But then I would talk to Gracie on the phone and she would be telling me these same things. We would talk about these things and we were like, okay, if we're both feeling this way, there's got to be other people too. Since we are sisters who tell each other everything, and that we can bring these conversations to more people.
Today, I'm so excited to welcome in everyone's internet bestie, half of the duo at Supporting Chaos. Samantha Pandolfo, otherwise known as Sammy, is one half of the sister duo that runs the Supporting Chaos platforms online. Between their 44,000 Instagram followers and 67,000 on TikTok, they spend their days bringing joy, laughter, and vulnerability to other moms in their online community. And Sammy is also a Kansas City resident. So Sammy, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I've never done like a Kansas City interview, and I'm pumped.
Yes, it's peak Kansas City moment. It's like, let's just get on and talk about living in Kansas City.
Love it. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So tell me about this platform that you guys have built very quickly. How did it begin? Did it take off faster than you expected? Like, what's the big story behind Supporting Chaos?
So it was New Year's 2021. We were at my sister Gracie. She's in Charlotte, and she was like, I want to start a parenting blog. I think we should do it. We stayed up, I'm not kidding, till like maybe 2 a.m. like drinking wine, talking. Like, our husbands went to bed before us, which doesn't usually happen. And we were just kept talking about it. And I was like, Gracie, I love you. I can't do a parenting blog. Like, I barely know what I'm doing here. And she has a background in child development. And so we kind of like talked about it, and then we never brought it up again. And then we kept on just randomly like thinking about it. And finally I was like, well, I'm so sick. Every time I scroll social media, because social media's changed so much recently, but even almost 2 years ago when we started, I would scroll social media and I'd see these moms who just looked perfect, and I'd be sitting there covered in spit up, like laundry everywhere, just feeling like, am I feeling like their marriages look perfect? I kind of want to punch my husband in the face sometimes. Kidding, not really. Like, what is going on? But then I would talk to Gracie on the phone and she would be telling me these same things. Like, yeah, my marriage problem, it's hard right now to have a newborn and be married, and my kids are driving me crazy. And we would talk about these things and we were like, okay, if we're both feeling this way, there's got to be other people too. And I think, like, since we are sisters who tell each other everything, and we don't fear that Gracie's going to judge me or I'm going to judge her, that we can bring these conversations to more people and just have them and laugh. Like, we're very fun people at our core. So even when we talk about the vulnerable stuff, like, our space is just also really fun and kind of laughs at the chaos, honestly. So that's sort of the background.
Yeah, I love it. It is so relatable, and it's such a nice change of pace from seeing like these aesthetic like lunch boxes to like, oh, reality. Like, here's a uncrustable child, you'll be fine. Like,
Yeah. Well, you probably have noticed that, like, on TikTok too. Like, our Instagram at first just didn't do well, and we were like, we're not even going to do Instagram. Like, our TikTok kind of grew quickly, and we were like, nope, no Instagram. We're not going to do it, because we just figured they didn't like us. Like, our page was never going to be perfect. And then when Instagram changed, that kind of helped our account over there too.
yeah. I mean, personally, yeah, I don't invest a lot in Instagram because it is more like typically more about like the aesthetics and stuff. And I'm just more, I feel like you guys, like, I'm like, let's be real. Let's just have fun and laugh. And like, I'm not going to like spend 3 hours setting up an aesthetic, like, get ready with me moment. Like, it's just not going to happen. So
I try to do like a morning vlog, and I forget halfway. I forget all the time to do it. I also don't love having my phone around my kids all the time. Like, that's a big thing for me. and then it takes me forever to edit. And I love watching them, but it's just hard for me to even try to do that. So I don't.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I feel like I haven't seen you guys as kids much online. Is that intentional, or how do you guys make those decisions?
It's honestly something that Gracie and I talk about all the time, because obviously right now there's a big push of not having your kids on. And our kids, so Gracie has 3, I have 2. My kids, our oldest are both almost 5. Our second are 2.5. And then she had a baby and I was like, I can't join you there. Like, we were pregnant every time. And this time I'm like, I gotta pause. And so they're still pretty young. It's funny. It's almost easier for us to just put up a picture of our kids because they're cute. Sometimes we don't even want to put our face on camera. Like, it still feels kind of like awkward and like, who wants to see me? But it's not about our kids. And we try, like, when they're babies, we are like, whatever, put them in a funny video. But we try not to have them in a lot of our videos just because those are ours forever. We've decided basically how we're looking at it right now, and that can change as they get older, is our account is not about our kids. Like, we think our kids are cute, obviously, but everyone thinks their kids are cute. It's about us and other moms. Like, it's that mom connection. And so we'll have them in the background, but we really try to be intentional of like, are we saying something that they would be embarrassed of later down in life, and it is hard when you work on your phone, and we're both stay-at-home moms. I have a part-time nanny and some childcare, but they don't see it as work. And so we try to be really intentional of like our supporting chaos hours versus our mom hours. And even on Saturdays, I put my phone away until nap time, like in my room. Like, I don't know. We're still trying to figure it out, honestly, but it's a hard balance sometimes.
Yeah, totally
I'm
is.
sure you working with them, you probably feel that.
Yeah, there's been a couple times that my daughter has said, like, Mommy, put your phone down. I'm like, no, don't say that. Like, you're only 3. You shouldn't say that. And then it's inevitably the time she said it, I was just scrolling for fun.
Yeah.
But it blends together when you're making content. It's like hard to say when your brain is on content creation mode versus your brain is on just mindlessly scrolling mode.
Totally. Well, I had that moment actually yesterday, and I was talking to Gracie about it because she had that moment too. I took Dawson on a date to Dolce Bakery, and I always am that person. I leave my phone inside my purse, so I like take 5 rounds back to the car, and I forgot my phone. So I was like, "Oh, I'll be right back. I forgot my phone." I get in the car, and he's like, "Well, Mom, why do you always need your phone on you?" And I was like, well, right now, we're driving. My husband was home while Cooper was napping. I was like, if Cooper wakes up, Daddy's working, we'll need to come back. And then I was like, you know what? You're right. I don't need to. So I was like, when we walk into the bakery, I'm going to leave my phone in the car. Would you like that? And he was like, yeah, I'd like that. And I was like,
no, I know. I know. It's so hard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you guys have like you said supporting chaos hours, like do you have like specific hours every day that you like are in content creation mode? Is like a method to the madness, or do you just kind of like put your heads together and be like, what are we doing today?
We're almost at 2 years in June, the middle of June, and we have been winging it this whole time. I mean, we take breaks. Like, we took off a lot in December. We do like some story posts and repost old things, but we really try to just have fun with it and not take it too seriously, which, sometimes it's hard because you'll see other people grow so fast and you're like, oh, I want to do that. Keep going. But we've really tried to like not burn out and remember what this is at the end of the day. Like, our sisterhood is the most important. Supporting chaos comes next. Like, our family comes first. So we are trying to do better about business hours and setting it all up and being more organized. We actually just signed with a manager who is the most amazing human, and she's helping us with our emails because like we just aren't responding to emails because it's so hard to balance it all. But we really do like try to work on having those hours, but they do blend together. Sounds better in theory than it is.
Yeah, same over here. I know. Well, that's exciting you signed a manager because like obviously I was doing my research for this podcast. You guys don't even really have a website. Like, you got you have this huge platform and like no like place to catch everyone. So
Yeah.
I think that was a good move for you.
Yeah,
That'll
we
be
are.
exciting.
We're wanting to we starting a podcast was our goal from the beginning. And then when the social media stuff kind of picked up, we've been putting that on the back burner. And so I think this summer is finally we're like, okay, we've been wanting to do this forever. Like we have to do it, but it's always a balance. I think all moms feel this way, whatever you're doing, if you're a stay-at-home mom or if you're a working mom, like the balance of being present and getting things done, it's always just pulls you on
Yeah.
both directions and hard to find that balance.
It's so tough. And when you're not working on work stuff, like in addition to parenting, there's all the domestic labor of just like running a house
Well,
too. That's like my kid doesn't care if the laundry's done or not. That doesn't feed her soul, but it has to get done, you know? So it's a lot to balance for sure.
it is.
Do you guys, is there any kind of content you create that you know you're going to get hate for? Like when you post it, you're like, oh, here we go again. Like everyone's going to get mad about this. And do you do it anyways?
You know, it's funny. Breastfeeding and these type of like where I'm a big formula, I'm whatever you want to do, but we both are huge advocates and feed your baby however you want to feed your baby, and that's gonna look different for everyone. I think that's one thing that we love about two of us sharing an account is like so much in motherhood. It's like you have to be this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to breastfeed for a year. You're supposed to do baby led weaning. You're not supposed to co-sleep. Like all these rules, and we try to show that we pick different things, and we're both good moms. Like everyone is going to approach these topics differently.
What do you get hate on?
Oh, so
Like,
that's a big one is breastfeeding.
oh yeah.
You know, anytime a video, like I feel like once it hits like 500,000, you just know. We don't even look at comments because it's just there's a couple on Instagram right now that are absolutely insane. I think in the beginning we used to try to post some of that like controversial stuff just to like but now we're honestly just we want to grow. Obviously, everybody wants to grow, but we're also just like happy where we are and like with our moms who we love so much. Like I have like mom guilt sometimes for them because I like want to go help everybody. And it's kind of clickbait. It's just not usually that much anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you met a lot of your followers in person? Is there like an in-person meetup in the works? Like, how does that feel for you to have all these women online all over the country that are like part of your daily life, but maybe haven't met them in person?
Gracie and I have this huge dream of one day we're going to do like a mom camp and like everybody's going to come from all over the country. Obviously, that's long ways away. I'd love to do a KC like local meetup. I feel like people don't. I think because I'm not from here, people are always surprised when they see I'm in KC. So I think people don't really know. So I'd love to kind of get more involved in like this community here and maybe do like a local one here.
Yeah. Well, let's do it. We'll move our heads together.
Listen,
yeah,
I'm
make it
talking
happen.
to Bianca from Little House, OP. She's super cute. She was saying the same thing. We're like, because I'm like also scared nobody's gonna show up. So I kind of love in with people.
I did an event once and literally like 5 people showed up. No, not even 5. Like it was like, but I brought my family with me and so we just had a blast. So I was like, oh well, like at least I tried, you know.
Yeah.
But people are busy. Like they say, like, oh, I want to meet up, and then it's like when it comes to reality, it's like, oh no, I actually have a busy life.
Yeah.
So, okay, I get that.
Totally.
So yeah, tell us your backstory. How did you end up in Kansas City? Was it culture shock when you first got here? All that stuff.
So I'm from Charleston. As Rachel said earlier, I lost my accent, I think, because I moved. I'm from Charleston. I went to University of South Carolina, and then I moved to Chicago for a job in commercial real estate. And I met my now husband there, and he had in his job, he was like the next level. We knew he was going to get a sales position anywhere in the country. We had no idea. And we were dating at the time, but like we were pretty serious. Like we knew we were going to make this next step. And I was lucky I could work from home. And so I got cleared to move, and we were like, where are we going? We didn't know. And it was Kansas City. And I didn't know anything about Kansas City, obviously. And he's from St. Louis. So we were like, okay, this is awesome. Like, you know, it's close to St. Louis. This is going to be great. Because we could have been literally anywhere in the country. And I'll never forget, we flew here to come look at it. And I was like, no, I'm not moving there. There's tornadoes. I've seen Wizard of Oz, like just joking. I know what you're doing to me. He's like, no, there's no tornadoes like in Kansas City. Like, you're going to be fine. So we get off the airplane and there's a tornado chaser shirt, like that blue shirt. I don't know if you see it. I'll send you a picture later when I find it. And I was like, look it. That was the first thing I saw. So I made him buy me that shirt and I wore it the entire weekend I was here. Like, we were like looking at apartments and we went to a Royals game. And so that's kind of when we moved here. And every time I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. It's such an underrated city. Like, I love it. It gives me Southern vibes, but more in a Midwest style. Like, I just think the people here are the nicest people ever. Like, in the South, people are nice, but they're like, oh, bless your heart, like kind of talking bad behind your back. Like, here, it's like, if there's not a crosswalk and you're about like wanting to cross, a car will just stop for you to go. I'm like, what?
So true.
So it was definitely different from Chicago, but we've loved it. We really have.
Have you guys moved around the metro to various parts of town? Like, have you found a corner of the metro that like speaks your language the most, or any favorite neighborhoods?
So when we moved here, we lived in the Plaza. We lived in 51 Main. So this is 7 years ago now, which is crazy to me. I'm always like, oh, you've been here like, I don't know, like 5 years. And I'm like, oh no, because my son's almost 5. So that's not true. So we lived in 51 Main. And then we were actually going to move downtown, thinking about it. And then I got pregnant. And so we were like, okay, should we move to like, a more like, I don't know, like a house or like in an apartment? And I still I felt like in that time, like we were like young and I was like going home a lot. Like, we were all over the place. I never really like searched around in Kansas City, and everybody kept telling me Prairie Village. And so I was pregnant and I'm like, I started like nesting. I was like, we just got to go. So we moved to Prairie Village, like not knowing anything about it. And I remember we bought our house in February. So like, it wasn't that pretty. Like, the trees weren't that pretty. And then I kept like driving in like April and May. I'm like, wow, our street is beautiful. Like, I had no idea. And I've just been so like pleasantly surprised with, I really, really love Prairie Village.
It's so cute. It looks like a Hallmark movie. Every time I drive through there, I'm like, oh, I understand why it's such a bloodbath to get a house here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we got really lucky because we bought our house in 2018.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So, and we're like,
nailed it. Now you're stuck. You can't move.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's just blown up here. And I remember, like, I have a real estate background. I remember telling my husband, I was like, because we, I also talked him into spending more in our house than we wanted to. But I was like, I promise you, my gut, I always go with my gut on this thing. And like, this is going to be a good investment for us. Like, I just know it. And so yeah, we love it.
It worked out. You can hold that over him for the rest of time now.
Yeah, I do.
Also, I like, congratulations on moving to Kansas City and then immediately becoming a Kansas City cliche of getting pregnant and moving to Johnson County. Like, you did it, girl. You made it.
That's so funny. And I'm just like oblivious. I'm like, oh, okay. That is so funny.
Yeah. I love it. So do you guys think you're here long term, or do you know, or it's kind of just see where life takes you?
I have no idea. Like, this is my thing. I love Kansas City. I just am from the South and I don't like cold weather. And I am a baby about it. And so in January and February, I'm like, okay, we got to get to the South. And then right now I'm like, I don't know. I just love it. And I really love Prairie Village because it's such like a small town feel. But there's so much to do. Like, you can go to a Royals game, go to a Chiefs game, like Science City downtown. Like, it is. And everything's easy here too, like to take your kids. I feel like if I'm in Charleston and we're taking them to see Santa, it's like the longest line. Here there's like 20 places to see Santa and the lines are like, okay. I wish I could move Kansas City just like a little bit more south and on the beach, and then I would be there forever.
Oh, same. Sound like you just need to buy a beach house. Use that investment gut.
Right.
Convince the husband, you guys need a beach house for January and February.
Yeah.
And then everything will be good.
Right. I know. And his job's great here and we love it. So I have no idea if we'll be here forever, but right now I'm just really, really happy here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're glad you're here. So, you guys were on Dr. Phil recently. What was that like? How did that come about?
It was so wild. It all happened so fast. So it was like one Friday, I get a DM and she's like, "Hey, I'm a producer from Dr. Phil. I wanted to contact you guys about potentially being on a show. I found you on TikTok." And I go and look at her profile because at first I'm like, this is like a scam. I'm like, oh, she's shout out to Anna. She probably won't watch this, but if she does, because I love her. She has pictures with Dr. Phil. I like look her up. I'm like, okay, this is legit. So I was like, Gracie, do you want to jump in a call real fast? Like, she wanted to talk like then. And I just happened to see the DM like right at the time. And I was like, yeah. So we jump on the call and she's like, hey, I found you guys on TikTok. We want you guys to come on and talk about your social media, and being disruptors was kind of the theme. And so it was just this intense project or process because it was literally like we were supposed to go there a week later. So somebody big and important and way better than us must have canceled. And then they were looking for us. And we don't care. We were like, we don't care what happened. We're just happy to be here. Um, but it was an intense process, like so many interview questions, home interviews. And like, they're like, you need business casual clothes. We're like, "Oh, we're staying home moms and what's business casual?" Like, we were just like, yes, like, let's go. We're up for the opportunity. And they flew us out there. Um, they put us like, we were laughing because we're like, we think everybody else must stay like in Hollywood. They put us in like a crappy hotel. Like, not, it's not as glamorous. They're like, do you guys mind sharing a room? We're like, of course, whatever. Do you want us to pay you $20 for us being here? Like, we're just happy to be here. But it was just the coolest process. I mean, so outside of our comfort zone. Like, oh my gosh. Like, it was really crazy, but the show was an awesome message about it's TD Jakes, who's a reverend, and he just wrote a book about being disruptors and doing things differently. And they posted all of my like ugliest pictures of me ever, like, covered in spit out, like laying on the bed, like on national TV. I was like, I always knew those would be the pictures that would get me. But it was just an awesome, awesome experience.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So is that your biggest celebrity encounter so far? Or have you gotten like a like on a post that you're like, I can't believe they liked our post
I
or
have a
anything like
good
that?
Kansas link for you. And now Elise
Okay.
Myers liked one of my TikToks, and I was like
Yeah.
fangirling. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes when
Yeah.
I'm feeling like imposter syndrome, I'm like, okay, remember, Elise Myers thinks you're funny.
Yeah. And we'll claim her, like Kansas Cityans, we will claim anyone that has like a third degree tie to Kansas City. So like her husband is from Tonganoxie,
Okay,
Kansas. So like we're like, she's a Kansas Cityan now. Like we want her, she's ours.
makes
So
perfect sense to me. She gets the vibe too. I love it.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Awesome. Okay, so this question is one I ask everyone that comes on the podcast. What is a good meal you've had recently in Kansas City? Where you went out and had a great dinner and everyone needs to go try it.
Oh, okay. I feel like it's just super popular, not a good one, but I remember I am from the South, so even if I don't have my accent, I mispronounce literally everything. Lazia, is that
Okay. Uh-huh.
Luzia?
Uh-huh.
I think it was their winter salad, but they had the mozzarella lady made this salad with I literally
Mhm.
bought I bought some of the stuff that she used because I stopped. Tell you exactly.
Oh, I saw you post about that and I was like, I need that.
I should have tagged her. I didn't even think about that. Now I feel like a jerk. But I bought this because she used it in her pulled like mozzarella salad thing, and I dream about it. It's so good.
That's amazing. You know it was a good like I have a couple salads in my life that I'm like that. You know it's a good salad if you like when someone asks you what's a good meal and you answer with a salad, it's a life-changing
Oh,
salad.
the
That's the
time,
only time.
but that is not me. Like, chicken fingers are my favorite food. I'm like the least classy human, so that is like the perfect point. Like, it was. I seriously dream about it.
I love that. Love that. Sounds like you guys need a date night again to go have it soon. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. So tell everyone where they can find you online, what platforms you're on and what the handle is, all that good stuff.
Yeah, we're on at Supporting Chaos on Instagram and TikTok. And I think we have 50 followers on YouTube too at Supporting Chaos. So that's kind of a big deal.
Ooh,
So yeah,
fancy.
come hang with us.
Awesome. Love it. Well, thank you for your time and thank you for the messages you guys send online, making all of us feel not so alone in our chaos. It's much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me again. I was so excited when you texted or messaged us.
Yeah, love it. Love it. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If we haven't already, let's connect. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Rach the Realtor KC. We're back right here every Thursday morning with a new guest on Connecting KC. See you next time.